Welcome to the Chiricahua Mountains, southeastern Arizona. This is the second time in the past 4 days my brother and I have escaped the heat. And we are on our way up to Chiricahua Peak, which is one of the ultra prominent peaks of the continental United States. Yeah, Patrick and I got a late start today by choice. The forecast is calling for 0% chance of rain. And I think it's at 0 mile per hour winds on the summit too. So we're taking, I guess, a little bit of a chance because there is always that risk of afternoon storms. But hopefully we'll be fine. So we're making slow but steady progress up this mountain. And our starting elevation was actually around 6,100 feet. So the elevation gain should be about 3,600. So not too bad. We're taking our first little break. Still less than 2 miles in. Just getting some of the views down here into this canyon. So yeah, Chiricahua is one of the ultra prominent peaks of the lower 48. Has over 5,000 feet of prominence, but it's not much more than that. So we're thinking that's Chiricahua Peak right there. Judging by the map, it looks like it's going to be it. So far as I can remember, there have only been a tiny bit of downhill sections on this trail, and barely downhill too, just like a few feet. Otherwise, it's just been constant uphill or kind of level. So it's been pretty nice. It's nice not to lose elevation when you don't have to. All right, we made it to this trail junction here. So the Mormon Ridge trail, I think, goes left. Chiricahua Saddle is right, and then the Monte Vista Lookout is right. So we're gonna head right here, and then just take this up a little ways as long as we're still gaining elevation, and then probably head straight up the slope somewhere in that forest. And the summit should be straight up there. So we just came from the saddle over there, the trail junction. And we're gonna head off trail right here. So it should be pretty straightforward as long as we can avoid any thicker undergrowth. So we're making our way up. We should have about 250 feet of elevation to go to get to the summit. And probably a quarter mile at the most. All right, after a lot of fallen trees and thicker undergrowth, which is taking the place of the forest, beginning to see the end of the climb here. So this looks to be the summit or pretty close. Hopefully just a few more minutes. And I'll be at the highest point. Oh yeah, here's a trail right here. Okay, cool. I want to say this is the summit right here. All right, made it to the summit of Chiricahua. So another ultra prominent summit and another one of the Arizona 2,000 foot prominent peaks. Patrick will be coming up in a little bit. So that right there is the summit of Chiricahua. We were really disappointed on the drive here because it's just incredibly hazy. Patrick says the haziest he's seen since he's moved here, and I think definitely the haziest since I've moved here. Some of it's probably smoke too from fires, but it's really hazy out. There are no long distance views whatsoever. We can see Dos Cabezas. I'm not even gonna zoom in on it. And just some of the other peaks around here. But we were thinking this is a perfect summit to do on a day like today anyway, because you don't really get that many views from the summit. There's a lot of high ground up here. I think that peak out there is Fly's Peak. And there are several other peaks in the area. They're all, you know, a little bit shorter than here, but still pretty high up. Patrick and I just got a little bit of high elevation grounding up here. We took our shoes off. Wish I would have thought of it earlier. But it's 2:16 in the afternoon. We figure on being back, hopefully, in an hour and a half. We think we should make pretty good time going down. And we still have about a almost 4-hour drive back. So we're gonna maybe take another minute or two, just enjoy the peace and quiet of the forest up here and the coolness, and then start back down. Chiricahua Peak is back up that way. We came to a little bit of a clearing here on this trail. So we can see a little further out, but it's still really hazy to the east. So just haze everywhere. So there's another one of the peaks out there. And then looking kind of east in this direction, northeast. And then spinning over this way. We're starting to get back into a little bit more of a forest. So we should meet up with that other trail pretty soon, and then off trail back down to the lower trail than that. So when we reached our saddle, before we took the trail a little ways and then started off trail, we were right there. So we need to get back to that area right there, just below that little peak. So we'll take this trail a little further, and then once the forest gets a little thicker, we'll just go back down to the other trail. We're almost done with our off-trail section. We should meet up with the trail pretty soon, and then we'll just take that to the saddle, where we'll meet up with the Ridge Trail, I think Mormon Ridge Trail, the one we took up. This is where it's pretty nice. Ground's nice and soft. You have some cushioning if you do fall, but you can make pretty good time down. Back on the trail? Yep. Cool. So we're at the trail junction here. We're gonna take the Mormon Ridge Trail back down again. And that's the direction of Chiricahua Peak. It's pretty much straight up there, maybe off to the right a little bit. Sky looks like it's getting a little bluer up there, but anything out on the horizon is just completely hazy. Well, things actually really worked out today. I thought of it, Patrick thought of it, and he voiced it on the way here about just turning around and saving this for another day. But like I said on the summit, I don't think we could have picked a better day to do this.
Agreed.
Especially with the views being limited on the summit anyway. Might as well just enjoy the forest, enjoy being up there, and not worry about looking at anything else. And just enjoy the immediate views of the trail and the surrounding peaks, which really are nice enough in themselves. Looking back up towards Chiricahua and the beautiful western slopes of the mountain here. Another nice viewpoint here. So there's, I guess, some kind of oak tree growing right here. Or maybe a little too low for the aspens. But these are some, looks like newer growth oak trees. So there's Chiricahua Peak up there. We're almost back. We should have, at the most, I would say a quarter mile, 200 feet of descent to go. All right, we've come to the end of the Mormon Ridge Trail. We're right at the car now. And the hike ended up being about 9 miles, 3,700 feet of elevation gain, 4 hours and 36 minutes, I think it was. No views of Chiricahua from here, but as long as we're able to, we're gonna get some views a little further away from the mountain range. All right, here's our last look at Chiricahua Peak and the Chiricahua Mountains. We're almost back onto the pavement, Highway 181. There it is. It was definitely a fun hike, and we actually did pick a good day to do it due to the limited views on the summit anyway, so no big deal with the haze today. And it's great to get one of the ultra prominent peaks of the lower 48 in. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.